I just wanted you to clarify for me that when we practice self-investigation, what does it mean when, it's said that we need to turn our attention to a full 180 degrees or even deep within?
That's a good question. That is one thing we need to understand. This path that Bhagavan has taught us, it is a very, very simple path, but it is also a very deep and subtle path. So it cannot be adequately expressed in words. Once when someone asked Bhagavan, this is recorded in Mahayoga and also in talks, someone asked Bhagavan something to the effect of how to practice this. And Bhagavan replied, if the way were objective, it could be shown objectively. This path is not objective. Do you need to be shown the way inside your own home? So what he implies by that is this no words can adequately describe what this practice is. But Bhagavan has given us plenty of words that point us in the right direction. So whatever words are used, we need to understand these words as pointers. Just to try to explain what is meant by turning 180 degrees. Normally, that of a normal state of ego is to be facing outwards, attending to things other than itself. So our aim in self-investigation is to turn our attention back towards ourselves. So we are the subject here. Everything else is out there. Everything else includes our thoughts, our feelings, everything. It's all external to us. So when Bhagavan says turn within, he means that we need to turn our attention away from other things back towards ourselves. When in practice, because of the strength of our Vishaya vasanas and our lack of love to turn within, most of us, when we start to practice it, though we are attending to ourselves, our attention may be only a partial attention because we're still aware to some extent of other things. So our attention is not completely withdrawn from other things. So turning 180 degrees means focusing our attention on ourselves so keenly, but our attention is thereby withdrawn completely from other things. So it's just a way of saying it. It's a way of describing it. Diving deep within means exactly the same. The more we attend to ourselves, the deeper the ego, the nature of ego, as Bhagavan explains, for example, in verse 25 of Ulluthanapadi, what he implies there is the nature of ego is to rise, stand, and flourish by attending to things other than itself, by attending to phenomena, forms, as he calls it. But if it turns its attention back to see who am I, if it seeks its own reality, it takes flight, it disappears. So that implies that the nature of ego is to rise, stand, and flourish by attending to things other than itself, but to subside by attending to itself. So to the extent to which we attend to ourselves, to that extent we will subside. So the more keenly we attend to ourselves, the more our attention is thereby withdrawn from other things, and the more we thereby subside within. And eventually, when we subside into the very depth of our being, we thereby dissolve there. That is what Bhagavan calls, when he describes using the pearl divers metaphor, we have to sink deep within ourselves and retrieve the pearl of Atman. So these are all just ways of describing it. We shouldn't get caught up in the words. We should try to understand what the words are pointing at, what they're indicating. So though we understand that essentially all self-investigation is fixing our mind on ourselves, as Bhagavan says in Nana. Fixing our mind on ourselves means fixing our attention on ourselves. That's all that is required. But the more we attend to ourselves, the more keenly, the more we try to attend to ourselves, the keener our attention becomes. So the more our attention is focused on ourselves. These words are inadequate. I know, but the words have to be inadequate because words are for talking, as Bhagavan said, for objective things. This is entirely not even subjective. We're not even investigating the subject. Truly, we're investigating the reality of the subject. So this is the very antithesis of any objective effort. So it's very deep and very subtle. So the words can only point in that direction. We don't have to understand all of Bhagavan's words. If we understand the general direction in which he's pointing us, that is sufficient. So if you understand what it means to be self-attentive, that's all that's needed. Go on trying to be self-attentive more and more and more. The more you practice self-attentiveness, the more you will naturally sink within, the more you will naturally be turning more and more number of degrees, metaphorically speaking. Is this an adequate answer to your question, or is it still unsatisfactory?
Yes, thank you, Michael. That's I understood what you're trying to say. It's
Yes.
like when you're sitting in a class and there's a boring lecture going on,
Yes.
and you're just lost in your thoughts, and you completely miss what the teacher is saying.
Yes.
Totally, you miss it. You haven't heard. You, even though your ears are fine, the words are going inside, but you just don't pay attention. It's completely missed, and you're just lost in your thoughts. It's just that the turning around of attention.
Exactly.
It's just that, right?
Yeah. And if you, supposing it's not a boring lecture, supposing it's a very interesting lecture, even then your attention won't be fully on what the teacher's saying, because when the teacher's saying something, the lecturer is saying something, it'll trigger off associated thoughts, which are very relevant to the subject, but because you're thinking of those associated thoughts, you're not attending to the lecturer. So if we take this as an analogy, our aim is our full attention should be on the lecture. We should be unconcerned about thoughts, unconcerned about whatever is going on around us. We should only be trying to listen to the lecturer. Likewise, but Bhagavan's teachings are ever shining silently in our heart as our own being. So that is the lecture we need to listen to. By attending to our own being, we need to attend to that more and more and more and more. Even we need to forget about his teachings. But if we are trying to attend to ourselves and we begin to think, oh, Bhagavan said this in Nana, he said this in Ulladu Narpadu, even that is allowing our mind to go away from ourselves. What all this Ulladu Narpadu and Nana are pointing at, they're pointing at one thing and one thing alone, I. So our sole aim should be to attend to I. The more we attend to I, the deeper we are sinking within, the deeper we are, the more number of degrees we are turning. It's as simple as that.